There's been a lot of talk about which Cyberpunk ending is the best. Tier lists abound and Reddit posts filled with discussion. And to be clear, these are not necessarily talking about the best in terms of quality, but instead, which is the best outcome for V. And while there is plenty of discussion to be had there, I want to come at it from the perspective of what kind of person your V would have to be in order for that ending to make sense for them. Before we begin, I just wanted to say thank you for the support on my recent videos, and I now have channel memberships available. So if you're feeling generous, please join up, and maybe like and subscribe too. The first ending I want to talk about is the devil ending. To begin, we have Misty give V another tarot reading. When she pulls out the devil card, her mood immediately sours, only worsening when she notices the Arasaka agent at her front door. She admonishes V's choice to side with the corporation, remarking how they were the ones that killed Jackie. This ending exemplifies a V who prioritizes survival and personal ambition over the relationships forged throughout Night City. A V who pursues the devil ending is likely someone who has distanced themselves emotionally from the people they've met in their journey. They might have bypassed opportunities to help characters like Panam or Judy, viewing their struggles as distractions from their own goals. Similarly, this V would have tolerated Johnny Silverhand only to the extent that he was useful, dismissing his ideological crusade against Arasaka as futile. This version of V is pragmatic, perhaps even cold, willing to make a Faustian bargain to cling to life for a little longer, even at the cost of their freedom. V turns from Misty and sees Anders Hellman, who may or may not be accompanied by Goro Takamura. This is the first of several differences in this ending, and you can only see Takamura here if you saved him back at the abandoned hotel. For the purposes of this examination, we'll assume you saved him. V awakens after apparently passing out on the way to Hanako's estate, where she has been placed in captivity by her brother, Yorinobu. The crew tries to enter stealthily at first, but is forced into battle with the Arasaka agents. These agents prove little challenge for V and Takamura, and Hanako's freedom is secured. During the flight to Arasaka Tower, V's rapidly deteriorating condition becomes even more apparent when he collapses upon their landing. Takamura, ever the helpful corporate drone, offers V a hand and words of encouragement. Should Takamura not be present, neither Hanako nor Hellman will deign to help you up, leaving you to struggle on your own even as they need your help to accomplish their goals. From here, V presses Hanako for information, sensing that she is not telling them the entirety of her plan.
Keep getting this weird feeling you're not telling me the whole truth.
Because I am not telling you the whole truth.
And how right this intuition is, because after a short elevator ride to the depths of Arasaka Tower, we find the Emperor himself, not alive, but seemingly well. The engram of Saburo Arasaka is revealed to us, showing that while one version of him died, another copy lived on in the Makoshi vaults, very likely his own personal vault, kept safely away from all the other engrams in company possession.
Got that right, you bastard.
V!
Silverhand sends his regards.
It's here that the true breadth of Hanako's plan is revealed. If the board members who sided with Yorinobu will not listen to V's testimony, then the Emperor himself will force them to listen. As expected, the Arasaka elite doesn't listen to the lowly V, and it's only with the reveal of Saburo and the delivery of a cutting line that the board finally acquiesces. This victory is short-lived, however, as Yorinobu sends a hit squad to kill all the board members in a final ploy. Hanako is shocked by how brazen his attack is and sends V, and potentially Takamura, to subdue, but not kill, her brother. On your way to do that, you fight the infamous Atom Smasher, and after a lengthy battle, you get revenge for Johnny. Following this, if Takamura is with you, he will refuse to go any further as he will be unable to resist killing Yorinobu, so V ventures forth alone. We find Yorinobu has fallen to his knees in the Arasaka penthouse, lamenting his failure. He goes on to chastise V, saying that he was not simply trying to take power from his father, but to dismantle the Arasaka Empire.
If planting bombs not enough, what can you do? You become bomb.
V is incredulous at the thought, simply denying that Yorinobu could have achieved anything meaningful. And before long, Hanako and Hellman arrive to collect V and the broken Yorinobu. We also see that the Arasaka siblings have a very close-knit family relationship. V once again collapses, but before that, we see Hanako place something into her brother's head. How curious. In his decaying mind, V confronts Johnny, who admonishes them for siding with Arasaka. Johnny also makes the point that the old V has been gone for a while now, as they have been merging since the moment Dex betrayed you. The duo say their final goodbyes on frosty terms, and Johnny's engram is shredded by Arasaka technicians. V suddenly awakens in a blindingly white, sterile room, confused and with a feeling of emptiness. They are greeted with the clinical demeanor of one Professor Kusama, the woman who operated on V. She shows no concern for V's well-being and is clearly only interested in them as a subject and not as a person.
In the end, even the human soul can go under the knife. End of note. Please take the patient away.
Later on, V sees that Saburo Arasaka has been revived in the body of his son Yorinobu. Having stolen it for himself, he has now solidified his status as the eternal leader of the Arasaka Empire. After this bleak revelation, V is subjected to another series of tests to see how their recovery is proceeding, and it becomes clear over time that V is not recovering much at all, and Kusama is not very empathetic as V struggles on.
I can't. Gotta stop.
Stop treadmill. Testing concluded for today.
After an outburst, either Takamura or Hellman appears to V and breaks the news. V is not getting better and only has about 6 months to live. V is then offered a choice: either become an engram and be Arasaka property, or leave the facility and face their death. Takamura's role in this ending highlights his deep entanglement with corporate ideology. His loyalty to Arasaka and his attempts to persuade V to become an engram stem from a lifetime of service to the corporation, to the point that he cannot imagine a life outside of its shadow. His insistence that V sell their soul to Arasaka mirrors his own inability to see the corporation for what it truly is: a machine that devours individuality and humanity. Takamura's disappointment if V refuses this path emphasizes this flaw in his character, as he cannot comprehend why someone would reject the chance to serve Arasaka, even in death. On the other hand, rejecting the engram option and walking into the unknown is a defiant act, reclaiming a sense of agency in a narrative otherwise dominated by corporate control. Even in this bleak scenario, V's choices, however flawed, remain their own.
Intruder detected.
The Temperance ending is on the other side of the spectrum, where V instead allows Johnny to take over their body in order to storm Arasaka. This ending is only possible if you follow Johnny's side quests and help rebuild his relationship with Rogue, Queen of the Afterlife. For V to reach this ending, they must exhibit profound, perhaps naive, trust in Johnny Silverhand. Allowing Johnny to assume control means V relinquishes agency at a critical juncture, reflecting either belief in Johnny's vision or exhaustion from fighting for autonomy. This trust transcends partnership, bordering on self-abnegation. Had to break out the thesaurus for that one. Johnny leverages Rogue's guilt over betraying her ideals and working with Adam Smasher and Arasaka. The guilt trip works, just as Johnny expected, and if you romanced her, they spend the night together. Johnny's reliance on Rogue is cyclical. Their plan, a 3-person raid on Arasaka Tower, eerily mirrors past mistakes, with Johnny caught in an endless rebellion against the same enemy. Rogue, consumed by guilt over her perceived compromises, is drawn back into Johnny's orbit, their rekindled bond costing her everything she spent decades building. While Johnny is napping, Rogue sets up the heist of Arasaka Tower with only her, Johnny, and Wayland, son of Andrew Wayland, whom they crewed with 50 years ago. A touch of nostalgia, to be sure. Johnny has a conversation with his expert netrunner turned AI X, Alt, who co-signs the plan and sends him on his way.
Wait, just one other thing.
I have no more time for you.
Before leaving, we see Rogue on a phone call, and when Johnny asks who it was, we learn she has a son. The crew flies out over Night City towards Arasaka Tower, and despite Alt taking down an entire satellite, their aircraft is shot down, luckily over their intended landing zone. They shoot their way through the tower, reminiscing about the old days the whole way.
My treat, eh? Or people with stories of the olden days, just like my grandparents.
Johnny plugs Alt into Arasaka Networks, where she proceeds to ruthlessly exterminate everyone in their path while warning the team of an incoming elite force. This elite force turns out to be Atom Smasher, who ambushes the crew and knocks everyone to the ground. And unlike the Devil ending, Smasher directs his ire at one person in particular. In the chaos of the fight, Smasher lifts Rogue up by her sternum, his raw hatred evident. In her final act, she detonates a grenade, sacrificing herself to wound Smasher and give Johnny a fighting chance. Johnny, now drenched in gore, stands up to face his old foe once more, with another death weighing heavily on his conscience. He finally gets his revenge and makes his way to the Mikoshi terminal to plug himself in. Here, we're greeted by V, though Johnny still inhabits the first-person perspective. I believe this is the only point where we see V from the eyes of another character, and it feels significant that it's Johnny who gets that privilege, reinforcing the consequence of giving him control. Alt appears and delivers grim news. V's body has been altered too greatly by the biochip to suit anyone but Johnny. If V returns to their body, they will only have a short time to live. Conversely, Johnny could seamlessly integrate and begin anew. One might think V would outright reject this idea, but remember the conversation in the abandoned Pacifica Hotel. V can express a willingness to take a bullet for Johnny, showcasing their deep respect for him. Johnny, in turn, expresses the same sentiment for V.
Want to be clear. I will do you no wrong. When the time comes, it'll be my life for yours. I'll agree to get wiped. Tags are proof of my promise.
I do the same for you.
However, the final decision no longer rests with V. Johnny is now in control. The player faces two choices. Johnny can leave with Alt into cyberspace, merging with her, or he can return to V's body, now its sole occupant. If Johnny chooses to go with Alt, V awakens in an opulent penthouse, ironically located right next to their starter apartment. Despite their newfound legendary status in the afterlife, they appear deeply melancholic, as their triumphs came at too great a cost. A contract from the enigmatic Mr. Blue Eyes sends them on a perilous orbital casino heist. This mission feels like stolen valor, however, as V's legend is tied to deeds performed by Johnny. In the alternate ending, Johnny wakes up fully occupying V's body in a run-down apartment. In my opinion, this section is pretty long and tedious, but it ultimately reveals a reformed Johnny, softened by V's influence. He leaves Night City to begin a new life, shaped by the compassionate aspects of V's personality. The Temperance ending encapsulates the dangers of unchecked trust and the allure of familiar patterns. Rogue's death, Johnny's reluctant transformation, and V's ultimate sidelining form a tapestry of interconnected sacrifices. V, who sought control and autonomy, loses it entirely, while Johnny, the embodiment of recklessness, learns restraint and responsibility. Yet the cost, measured in Rogue's life, V's agency, or living out a hollow dream, is undeniably high. The star ending is widely considered one of the best in Cyberpunk. It can only be achieved if you help Pan Am, and by extension, the Aldecaldo clan, in a series of side quests. Unlike the Devil ending, this path opens with Misty offering a hopeful tarot card reading, punctuated by Pan Am's timely arrival. V passes out and wakes up several hours later in the Aldecaldo camp, and as they make their way to the center of camp, Mitch, a long-standing member of the clan, reveals that most Aldecaldos are unaware of the true purpose of the raid on Arasaka. This secrecy is meant to prevent panic among the less battle-hardened members, many of whom might balk at the immense risks involved.
They know why, what our aim is.
Look around, V. War-tested veterans are a fistful at most. The rest mostly raid rinky-dink convoys and salvage scrap. So for now, they only know as much as they need to know. The aim is to help you out.
At the heart of the camp, Pan Am and Saul, the clan's leaders, finalize their plans for the assault on Arasaka Tower. Their approach is distinct from Rogue's in the Temperance ending. Rather than a direct assault, the Aldecaldos plan to hijack a massive drill, tunnel underground, and emerge near Mikoshi. However, the drill is guarded by a well-armed Militech force, presenting a formidable obstacle. Despite the danger, V offers everyone the chance to back out, and instead, the Aldecaldos affirm their support for V, formally inducting them into the clan.
You're one of us now, V. You're an Aldecaldo, damn it.
Great to Thanks have for you everything, with us, V, and don't worry. We'll get you into that Mikoshi. Isn't that the way of it?
Welcome to the family.
This moment grants V a sense of belonging they've long been missing, making the events that follow all the more devastating. The assault begins with the Panzer tank malfunctioning almost immediately upon contact with Militech forces. V valiantly defends the crew, but one enemy slips through the defenses, killing Bobby, one of the clan's veteran members. The Aldecaldos press on, but their losses continue to mount as another veteran, Teddy, falls during the battle. As the group nears the drill, Mitch opts to stay behind and pilot the Panzer alone, a task that could very well fry his brain.
Look out for yourselves.
They'll kill you!
I'll catch you later.
Meanwhile, V, Pan Am, and Saul proceed to Arasaka Tower. Once inside, V connects Alt to the Arasaka systems. Alt's ruthless efficiency in eliminating opposition unsettles the crew, showcasing her cold, inhuman nature.
She flatlined them all. They probably didn't even realize she had cut through their ice.
No mercy, it seems. Gotta remember what mercy is, to show any.
At the Mikoshi entry point, you guessed it, Atom Smasher ambushes the team. This time, his target is Saul, whom he crushes under his heel. Enraged, V and Pan Am manage to take down Smasher, avenging Saul and securing access to Mikoshi. However, the cost of this victory is steep, as the blood of V's newfound family paves the way. In cyberspace, Johnny is surprised that V managed to reach Mikoshi without his help, and Alt immediately uses Soul Killer on V, converting them into an engram. Unlike in other endings though, this time, V gets to decide their own fate. If V chooses to let Johnny take over, the Temperance ending plays out. If they reclaim their body, they rejoin the Aldecaldos for their remaining days. The star ending is a blend of hope and heartbreak, illustrating the dual-edged nature of connection. To achieve it, V must forge deep ties with the Aldecaldos, valuing relationships and community as a refuge and a force for change. Their induction into the clan symbolizes more than a tactical alliance. It's an acceptance into a family that offers V what they've been missing, belonging. This connection, however, comes at a steep cost. The raid's sacrifices, Bobby, Teddy, and ultimately Saul, highlight the bitter truth that loyalty and love demand a price. These losses show the depth of the Aldecaldo's commitment to V, born not of obligation, but of genuine care. Even as they grieve, the clan holds no resentment towards V, embracing them fully in their final months. V's transformation is evident. Once a lone mercenary scraping by in a ruthless city, they learn the value of trust and shared purpose. Though their time is limited, they find something worth living for, a family and a future, however brief.
That's right, son. Booyah!
Now that we've gotten through the main endings of the base game, we can move on to the Tower ending, which was added with the Phantom Liberty DLC. It's notably shorter than the other endings, but no less impactful. To get this ending, you either have to betray Songbird at the final moment, after she reveals she was lying to you the entire time, or endure a genuine horror sequence if you side with Reed from the beginning. Betraying Songbird reflects a V who prioritizes their survival above all else, emphasizing detachment over empathy. This ending also stands out as the only path where V escapes death entirely. In every other conclusion, V either faces a true death or a quasi-sort of death through the Soul Killer program, which essentially kills the original psyche to create a digital copy. The Tower avoids both fates, offering V continued life, albeit at an immense cost. After giving Songbird up, V simply waits for Reed to call and inform them that everything is ready. While waiting for pickup, Johnny borderline begs V to reconsider working with the FIA, expressing hope that they might explore other options that wouldn't guarantee his death. However, V commits to the path, and the duo waits for the AV to arrive. Eventually, a random FIA agent named Weiss, rather than Reed, arrives to pick them up. During the flight, V has one last conversation with Johnny. Whether it becomes an argument or a heartfelt goodbye depends on the relationship you cultivated with him throughout the game. This moment marks the divide between V's survival instincts and Johnny's ethos, which often hinged on loyalty and moral integrity. V is placed under anesthetic and undergoes the experimental surgery to remove the biochip's deleterious effects. When V awakens, they find Reed standing over them, and after some small talk, the immense cost of survival is revealed. V's nervous system can no longer handle advanced cyberware, effectively ending their career as a merc and any dream of becoming a Night City legend.
Your neurons can no longer handle most implants. Chrome. Your brain can manage your personal link and simple code processors. But any use of a combat implant, well, it could kill you.
This loss marks a turning point for V, stripping them of the ambitions that once drove them. The surgery spares their life, but robs them of their identity as a legendary mercenary. Yet, in contrast to the other endings, this V is left alive, young and untethered, with time to reimagine their purpose. The consequences of this ending extend beyond V's physical limitations. They've been in a coma for 2 years, during which none of their companions even knew they were alive. If V calls old allies like Panam or Judy, they find that everyone has moved on with their lives. Upon returning to Night City, V visits Vic, one of the few constants in their life. Vic, now working for a megacorp after accepting an indecently high offer, reflects what V might become. Someone who has abandoned lofty dreams but found satisfaction in a simpler life. Vic reassures V, telling them that while his ambitions were modest, he's happy with the quiet existence he's carved out.
Self-delusion? That's what you advise?
No. I just want you to accept your reality. You've changed, yes, but you're alive. Look at me. I had to adapt too. Still doing what I most love, though.
Should I start aiming lower too? Could be the key to happiness.
It's not easy settling. With time, though, you realize you no longer remember why you wanted it any other way.
V's descent from godlike mercenary to an ordinary citizen is made evident when they are mugged by petty criminals on the way out of Vic's clinic, unable to defend themselves, a sharp contrast to the near unstoppable force they once were. The subsequent encounter with Misty reinforces the idea of new beginnings. She reminds V that their situation is not unlike the one they faced after losing everything in the original Arasaka raid. Just as they rebuilt then, they can do so again. Misty's words reframe the ending as one of potential renewal rather than pure loss. V can then resolve to become a fixer, or leave the city entirely, carving out a new identity in the wake of their survival. The Tower is an interesting inversion of the Devil ending. For a V who never invested deeply in relationships or in a vision for the future beyond their immediate survival, this ending might feel almost liberating. While the cost is high, the freedom to start over, and the time to do so, offers something rare in Night City, a genuine second chance.
Good night, Vincent. Today was a good day.
V's been through a lot at this final moment of the game. They've hurt people, betrayed or been betrayed, and made real connections with people they care about. But V, at this point, is tired. Too tired to continue, too tired to fight, and simply can't bear to lose anyone else. V thinks of Jackie, their friend who pulled them from the gutter, and despairs at the idea of putting Pan Am and the Nomads at the same risk. Nor would they be willing to do the same to Rogue, who V and Johnny both know would be tempting fate with yet another raid on Arasaka. And they both know that siding with Arasaka could easily lead to a fate worse than death. So what is there left to do? Johnny tries to convince V to go out fighting, but they refuse. With resignation in their voice, they say,
"Am I worth their sacrifice? Are you? Besides, it's the only way we'll both be aware."
Of what? Death?
The moment life escapes.
So V takes the path of least resistance, seeing no other option to spare the ones they love from further harm. We then see how each person V has made a connection with is affected by their decision. The full range of grief-stricken emotion on display. Judy's despair, Pan Am and Carrie's rage, and River's solemn acceptance all serve to remind us that we weren't really sparing anyone. We just took their decision to help us away and left them all behind. This ending is best punctuated by Misty, who says,
"Well, you should know it didn't just affect you. It hit your friends, too. I don't think you knew just how many friends you really had."
And that's it. Every ending in Cyberpunk. Kind of a melancholic note to end on, but that's fitting with how things typically go in Night City. I know I said originally that this wasn't supposed to be a tier list, but I can't help feeling like none of these endings really spoke to me. And now that I've gone through them all, it's hard to feel like my V got an ending that fit for them. Oh well, maybe CD Projekt Red will get it in the next entry. Project Orion, was it?
To Arasaka Tower.
Time to party like it's 2023.
Are not allowed on the premises. We wish you a pleasant day.
Alright. Of course I know about the secret ending. It's achieved through a sufficiently high affinity with Johnny, and I believe a particular set of dialogue choices, and being perfectly transparent, it's my favorite ending in the game. After waiting several minutes on the rooftop with Johnny, he mentions how difficult it is, having to pick which one of your friends to send to their deaths, and that he has an alternative. That is, fuck plans, fuck Arasaka, and fuck common sense.
If I gotta die, rather fall into my grave, gun in hand and on fire, and not drag anyone down with me.
Huh. You just discovered what it takes to become a legend.
We march right in through the front door and immediately start blasting any poor corpo rat who dares to stand in our way. We carve a path through the initial waves of guards until a sufficiently important, soon-to-be corpse, kindly delivers us the access card we need to get to the lower levels. Following nothing but intuition, Johnny and V make their way through dozens of bewildered Arasaka agents who simply cannot believe that one merc has made it this far. I gotta say, it's quite satisfying that in this ending, V finally gets the respect and fear they have so clearly earned. It's also by this point that it becomes clear that V's maximum health is rapidly deteriorating, which adds an extra element of challenge while also highlighting why V would ever consider such a suicide run, as they are already mere minutes from death's door. Eventually, we cut through to an access point, where we plug in Alt, who takes care of any remaining enemies in the vicinity. Right before we reach Mikoshi, we are, once again, confronted by Atom Smasher, but sans any heroic sacrifice from V's friends. Despite V's failing health, they manage to take down the infamous killer, and cement their status as a new Night City legend.
Took down Johnny's arch-enemy. Gotten good, I guess. Damn, it feels nice.
From here, things progress much the same as before, where either V or Johnny can take V's body, but V will only have 6 months to live if they do so. This time, however, if V wakes back up in their own body, the glory is all theirs. No stolen valor here. And when they return to the afterlife, we see that even Rogue herself acknowledges our legend. Here, V is once again greeted by Mr. Blue Eyes and offered the job to raid the Crystal Palace Casino in orbit. This ending, in my opinion, is the best for the kind of V that wanted to reach the top. They wanted to be a Night City legend, but they also weren't willing to sacrifice their connections with others to get there. They are able to spare the Aldecaldos the losses of several of the veteran members and leader. They're also able to keep Rogue from tempting fate again. Likewise, they don't have to betray Songbird and give her a chance at a life that was stolen from her by the FIA. Nor do we have to sell our soul to Arasaka, who throw V away the moment they've outlived their usefulness. Best of all, we can keep our shared dream with Jackie alive, even if only for a short while. And finally, we have the most satisfying answer to the central question of the entire game.
Quiet life or blaze of glory? Later now.